It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. Good to have you in studio today. We thought it was time to bring in Yavapai County Supervisor Chip Davis. We're about the first quarter into the year, almost the first quarter into the year. So we thought we'd have you come in and give us a brush up on what's going on around the county. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
You look like you're doing really well. You look great.
Appreciate the invitation.
No problem.
Good to be here.
I'm glad you're always available. I called to Shannon and I said, hey, we need Chip next Tuesday. And she says, all right, well, we'll get him in there. And they're good about getting you in here, so I'm glad you're here. You've been gallivanting around the Verde Valley lately. I don't know if you're a very good gallivanter, but you've been doing it. Kind of going to different communities and towns and doing some talking. And it's not unusual for you to do that. I mean, it's very common, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we try to do it on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And it's a great exchange of information, both from the communities and citizens to talk to us about the needs that are happening in their community that we're not aware of. And then for us to share with them projects that we have planned for the community or changes in the county. This last round, we brought around the new Yavapai County Recorder, Leslie Hoffman, and introduced her to the communities. We still have a few more to go. And the new sheriff, Scott Masher. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about some of the changes we've done with the sheriff's department and the jail and the elections that have just taken place with the presidential preference election. And then different road projects and our community health center and general information and answer questions. And
it's a good way to keep in tune on what the public wants and needs.
It is.
And thinks.
And I think that's been one of our disconnects of government and the citizens is that we lack that communication piece. It seems like once folks are elected, they kind of disappear to their offices and everybody stays busy. But
we've experienced that, where a candidate's running for office and you hear from them all the time during the election, and then after the election, you don't hear anything until 2 to 4 years later, and then all of a sudden they're knocking at the door again. Mm-hmm. Like, well, where have you been all this time?
In fact, I think we all have some folks that every 4 or 6 years they are our best friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we don't see them in between those 4 or 6 year periods. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's good for us, the county as a whole, as an organization, and it's also good for the communities.
What are you hearing from the public right now? What's the biggest concern?
I think there's a bit confusion over the new districting process.
The maps.
In Arizona, both the congressional districts, legislative districts, county districts, and folks wondering, where exactly do I lie? Where did I end up? Because there was so darn many maps floated out and so many theories that, by the time it wound up, none of the 3 maps rhymed or had reason.
I guess it could be kind of confusing. I mean, because we had our maps for Yavapai County because we're going to 5 supervisors this year, and then mm-hmm. the state did the redistricting too. So mm-hmm. What's been the big confusion?
Well, I'll use the community of Cottonwood for an example.
Okay.
If you live in Cottonwood, you're in the County Supervisorial District 3. If you look at the congressional map, you're in Congressional District 4. And if you look in the legislative map, you're in Legislative District 6.
Yeah, that can be confusing.
So I'll Cottonwood again as the example. Well, actually, I can try to describe the boundaries as they ended up. For the supervisorial districts, Jerome, Clarkdale, Cottonwood, Verde Village, part of Cornville, Verde Santa Fe, Sedona, and Big Park are one district. We're District 3.
You're staying with District 3, right?
I'm staying with District 3,
You're staying
yes.
with District 3, okay.
So what ended up breaking off was Page Springs, Cornville, Lake Montezuma, Bridgeport.
What part of Cornville split off? Just real quick.
Basically all of Cornville, with the exception of the Verde Santa Fe piece that is south and west of Tissau Road and Cornville Road.
Gotcha. Okay.
So kind of over here to the Bridgeport area.
Right.
And then that Rimrock, McGuireville area went with Camp Verde down to Black Canyon City, Cordes Junction, and then over to the south part of Prescott Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the Verde Valley folks are now, I don't know how the elections will end up, but they're linked in with Prescott Valley. That'll probably, that's probably one of the larger population bases of that district.
Do you like that? The fact that maybe, well, it's always been kind of, Mingus Mountain split the thing, but now it doesn't sound like that's the case so much anymore. It's going to pull us together a little bit.
No, I think the intention of the districts that were chosen by 2 of the 3 supervisors was to minimize the Verde Valley influence on the rest of Yavapai County.
Okay.
The existing District 3 is a strong Verde Valley district, but diluting the Cornville area, Lake Montezuma, Rimrock, McGuireville, Camp Verde, with Black Canyon City, Cordes, Prescott Valley, really kind of moved the center of power into that Prescott Valley, Prescott area. We'll overcome it. Politics are always politics, but one would hope common sense would someday rule the day when we do our decision making.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the state independent redistricting commission? They've gone through quite a bit of flack through the whole creating of the maps. I mean, we voted 10 years ago that this is how we wanted to do it. We bring them in, they start to do it, and now we've had all these problems since then with trying to basically shut it down.
This started out as a joke, but it's actually sincere. I believe the best way you could do redistricting maps is to assign the project to a 6th grade class and show the 6th grade class, this is a map of Arizona. These are your population centers, and these are the numbers of people that live in the population centers. And we need to have 30 different districts. And I think the kids, they haven't been corrupted with politics and influence of power and trying to, manipulate processes. I think they would come up with a common sense project. What's happened is the process is totally political, very political. The Verde Valley, which has historically always went with the Prescott, Yavapai County area in the legislative districts. We were always Legislative District 1. We were the mother of counties. Yavapai County was always together. In fact, we took in part of that Mojave County for District 1. The new district maps takes the Verde Valley out of the rest of Yavapai County and ties it in with the Flagstaff area. And, most likely that's where folks will get elected out of. On congressional districts, however, it's different. On congressional districts, the majority of the Verde Valley will go with Prescott, but it goes all the way over to Lake Havasu and down the Colorado River. So our legislative districts are totally different than our congressional districts. And I would think you would want to be kind to the voters and make things make sense so that it's easy to understand where you're voting and who you're voting for, and that we're electing our neighbors and people we know rather than being fringe parts of these districts of which, I don't know that we have that much interest with.
All right. Let's take a break. Yavapai County Supervisor Chip Davis in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll be right back.
Here in northern Arizona and throughout Yavapai County, people count on Orkin Pest Control. With over 100 years of combined experience, nobody knows how to protect your home or your business from harmful or annoying pests like the Orkin Man. To start service, contact your northern Arizona Orkin Pest Control. In the Verde Valley, call 567-5100 or Orkin Pest Control in the Prescott area at 775-8772.
Hi, I'm Steve Scourgy with Yavapai Silent Witness. Marcel Gonzalez was murdered on this spot almost 15 years ago, back in March of 1997. We know that there is somebody out there who knows what happened in the alley that night. Yavapai Silent Witness is offering an $11,000 cash reward for information that leads to the arrest of Marcel's killer. For Yavapai Silent Witness, I'm Steve Scourgy.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Yavapai County Supervisor Chip Davis in studio today, and right now we're talking about the legislative and congressional maps that came out. And I'm still at the point where I'm trying to figure out why, you know, we have this group and we decided they're going to go in and make these maps, and so many people don't like these maps. Why don't we like these maps? All kinds of different politicians that you don't hear too much of have come out and kind of said, well, this is awful, this is awful.
I think there's a number of reasons. You know, me personally, I always felt that Yavapai County as a whole was kind of a region as one big community of interest. I always felt we've had bonds with all of Yavapai County. But I think on a broader scale going to throughout the state, what redistricting did was now you've drawn maps that may have, you know, 5 or 6 incumbents now living in one district where it used to be 3. And so now you have incumbents that are going to have to make the decisions of who's going to run against each other. And then even crazier than that, you have incumbents that are moving.
Right, Paul Gosar's leaving Flagstaff to move to Prescott so he can run in a different district.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's going to be a very bizarre year for politics. And I'll throw this out. Right now, in the legislative district that the Verde Valley is in, I don't know of anybody that's going to run for the House of Representatives. Oh. So if anybody out there has any desire or inkling to dabble their toes in politics and get a taste of the Arizona State Legislature, I think there's going to be 2 open seats. And again, I've spoke with folks up in Flagstaff. I know Tom Chabin is going to run for the Senate, but I've only heard rumblings of maybe one person out of Flagstaff running, but there's 2 seats. So again, you know, there's an open call if somebody wants to give it a shot. I would be more than happy to help them with the details of how to get in and get the campaign started and what they need to do to get on the ballot.
Yeah, you're a regular veteran of that, aren't you?
Getting there.
Getting there, huh? Yeah.
This will be my 5th run right now.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think of the candidates, these incumbents who have been in one district and are moving to a different district because they feel like they can win better there? I mean, I think that's why Paul Gosar is leaving Flagstaff, because I guess Coconino County is typically more of a Democratic district or a county, and then Yavapai County is more of a Republican.
Yes. Yavapai County's kind of known as the most conservative, good, high number voting Republicans. In fact, we had the highest voter turnout in the state, Yavapai County did.
It continues to be that way. Mm-hmm. It continues. Yavapai County's always, it's been at the top for several years now. I can't remember quite how many, but yeah, every election we have, it seems Yavapai County is right out there, most voters.
So I'm going to be slow to criticize. I'm sure that everybody has a different reason. Maybe somebody's just a fantastic politician and they really want to accomplish good things, and so therefore it's easier to move, or you know, they just don't want to give it up, or you know, they're looking for the easiest run. I think there's a variety of reasons why people are doing it. And again, I think it's going to be a crazy election year.
Now, the maps aren't a done deal. They're at the U.S. Justice Department.
Correct.
Right, so they could come back and say, sorry, but these maps are no good. It could be, you know, when you say it could be quite, it's going to be quite an election year, I mean, it really could be quite an election year. I mean, if those maps come back and they're no good, what happens then? Do you know?
Well, we experienced it in the 2000 because you based the redistricting based upon the census, the decennial census. And so in 2000, when the census came back and gave the new population numbers, and goes back to the one man, one vote, one person, one vote ruling, I think happened in 1966 or 68. So you have to redraw your maps based upon one person, one vote, so districts need to be of equal size, and then they have to have in the criteria that they don't diminish the opportunity for minorities and communities of interest, and they have a set of criteria. In 2000, those districts were challenged, and it wasn't decided until 2008 in the courts. So it took 8 years for that lawsuit to make its way through the courts to determine that the districts that were drawn were legal and appropriate. So,
and through all that time, we were already running it like they were.
Correct. So I'm under the assumption that the maps have been submitted, and I think everybody just best pull up their bootstraps and get on with it, because it is what it is. And
whether it happens or not, I mean, with the way they're set up right now, the way the maps are set up right now, that's how it's going to be for this election. Is that right? Or could they change between now and September?
I'm going to say really high percentage it will not change. I mean, unless there was a bill that was being tallied around the legislature to repeal the maps, but the last day for filing maps was, I don't know, last Wednesday, and that bill never made it in the drop box as far as I know. So I can't imagine the maps not going. I just, I know everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of folks are still complaining about it, but like I said, I think it's just time to realize those are the boundaries and that's your new districts, and let's get on with it.
We got 30 seconds before I have to take another break here. Do you think the state redistricting commission's getting kind of a bad shake on this? Do you think they did the best they could, and these are the maps, and we should just grin and bear it?
I'll go back with it is what it is. I don't believe that the process was untainted. It was certainly divided by boundary lines. I mean, the two Democrats consistently voted one way, the two Republicans consistently voted another way, and the independent commissioner who independently drew the maps, not through public process, but independently, consistently voted with the Democrats. So,
hence the sixth graders would be the perfect choice.
Right.
All right, we'll take a break. Yavapai County Supervisor Chip Davis in studio. I'm Paul David. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be right back.
Here in northern Arizona and throughout Yavapai County, people count on Orkin Pest Control. With over 100 years of combined experience, nobody knows how to protect your home or your business from harmful or annoying pests like the Orkin Man. To start service, contact your Northern Arizona Orkin Pest Control. In the Verde Valley, call 567-5100 or Orkin Pest Control in the Prescott area at 775-8772.
prescription drug abuse. The partnership at drugfree.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Scourgy with Yavapai Silent Witness. Marcel Gonzalez was murdered on this spot almost 15 years ago, back in March of 1997. We know that there is somebody out there who knows what happened in the alley that night. Yavapai Silent Witness is offering an $11,000 cash reward for information that leads to the arrest of Marcel's killer. For Yavapai Silent Witness, I'm Steve Scourgy.
Every year, 2 million kids play doctor by taking pills not prescribed to them. Talk to your kids about the dangers of prescription drug abuse. The partnership at drugfree.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Good to have you along. We've got just a couple minutes left in the program. I was going to say project, and that's what I got in my mind next. We talked about the maps and stuff, and I guess the best place to go, I guess we go to the Secretary of State's website and find out about the maps and kind of get to know those things better.
Yeah, you can look up Arizona redistricting maps, and that'll pop up. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard to zoom them in and get the detail that we're looking for. What we found is there's actually been some neighborhoods cut out, and I met with the elections department yesterday because they're in the same precinct, but they're in a different district. So we need to do some fixes in our precincts, I think.
And we'll get them in too before the election to kind of have them smooth that out and try to explain. I think once the ballots come out, it'll be easier to see what's where and who goes where and who you get to vote for. Do we have any big projects coming up for Yavapai County?
The Juvenile Detention Center.
That one's going to be wrapping up?
It's going to be wrapping up, hopefully opening around August.
I'm curious if they've ever solved that burglary out there, too, that they had the copper wiring disappeared for some unknown reason.
I have not heard that it's been resolved.
I don't think it's been resolved.
Our facilities department, we've been renting space from the city of Prescott over at the old rodeo grounds. We've got a building for them that we hope to be wrapping up in a few months. And we finished the community health center over near the library and the county building at 6th and Mingus. Mm-hmm. That's been a huge success story. Hate to admit the economy was the largest part of that because so many folks have had a little bit of bad luck in this economy, but our community health center has really been a saving grace for families and
nice crutch to get people by.
And we have folks come in and said, hey, I've never needed help in my whole life. I'm awkward and I'm not comfortable with this. And we have a pretty confidential process of helping people. And, you want your kids to be healthy. You want your spouse to be healthy. We have ways to help people that is either affordable or taken care of. Mm-hmm.
We're out of time.
Huh?
I know. It's done already. I know. Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yavapai County Supervisor Chip Davis. I'm Paul David. That's today's show. We'll talk to you again next time.
This has been Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's Countywide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting station.